with an opening prayer. Okay. Well, Jabulani, I think you're still muted. Um did
Let us pray.
Oh, thank you, leader. Thank you.
Father God, thank you so much for allowing us to be part of this meeting. We ask for wisdom to tackle every issue which will help us. And we ask for your help. Intervene with your strength and your wisdom. Be part of us from the beginning until the end. Speak in the mighty name of our Lord Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, my leaders. Thank you so much. Leaders, once again, thank you. Welcome. Thank you for your consistency, your commitment to growing our communities through our CDCs in the IEDF. Once again, I really want to appreciate everyone. Before we start today's session, I want to quickly share one of the reasons why these sessions, especially the CDC sessions, are very important. If you remember, our focus, please, you can mute your mic if you're not speaking, Leader Tapelo. Can you mute your mic, Leader? Leader Tabelo, thank you. Thank you, my leader. So we are working towards the MET conference, the Market Economy Treatment Conference coming up in Namibia. We also have in that MET conference the MER Awards. The MET conference will not succeed if we do not have active CDCs that would be there to showcase their brands, showcase their businesses across different countries where the CDCs are situated. However, leaders, there are still many leaders across different sectors who still do not understand what the CDC is and how the framework of the IEDF CDC actually works. The CDC handbook has been shared in the group, but not every leader, has had the time to really go through the CDC handbook. So I want to say that we really appreciate leaders who take time to join this session just to understand deeper and also understand how the CDC applies to growth for the businesses and the community. So today we are going to chapter 6 to chapter 9. And by the time we're going to run through it, but it's going to be an interactive sessions for us. What will be our outcome for today's meeting? Today, we want to see how many leaders on the call have actually started a CDC. Where are you situated in the call? How many leaders are in South Africa? How many leaders are in Uganda? How many leaders are in Zimbabwe? How many leaders are in Namibia, where we are holding the Met conference? Do you have a CDC there? Because it's CDCs that actually gives us that grassroots feel of what we are doing in IEDF. Without the CDCs, we are chasing shadows. Without the CDC, all our Vision 2030 goals are not really reachable at the end of the day. So we need to identify the CDCs currently active here or emerging CDCs and what country are you. Then we can, so that when we send you the information in the CDC group, you can begin to register your CDC. If you have already registered a CDC, can you profile all the businesses within your CDC? I'm talking about the CDC is made up of human beings, all right? So can we profile everyone's businesses within the CDC? Can we register their businesses for the MER Awards? The MER Award comes with a recognition and, of course, a visibility of what your business does for further engagement and collaboration. So we really want to see how we can build businesses and make sure that these businesses are viable one, and of course they are visible for everyone to see and everyone to partner with them. So those are the necessary outcomes for today's engagement. So thank you, my leaders, once again for joining the CDC training. Our chapter 6 to 9, we are called to lead, equipped to build, and ready to transform. That's what we are discussing today. So and that's our quote for today. We're going to be looking at the CITASA, the leadership journey. We're looking at the Visera from vision then to action. We'll now look at how do we launch our CDCs and how do we register our CDCs. We will share the link online to in the WhatsApp group so that once we're done, we can begin to register our CDC. Now, remember, in registration of CDC, we can start small. We can start with just you or and about 6 people, and that's how you start and you eventually begin to grow. Like we always say, it is a journey and not a short walk. So once again, leaders, thank you so much. It's a wonderful time to be alive and a wonderful time to always engage with our leaders. Today is different. In our previous lessons, my leaders, we have discovered what a CDC is and why it exists. CDCs exist to build communities, transform community, bring opportunities community, collaborations to community. And our community desperately needs leadership. Today, we are getting into even a bigger and most important question is who is going to build the CDCs? Who is going to build the CDCs? Is it you or is it I? Many people pray for change. Many people complain about poverty. Many people wish someone would have solved the problems in their communities. However, history has always taught us that communities never change because everyone is waiting. Change happens when people decide to do something. They take responsibility, and today we are here because we have decided to take responsibility. Early hours of this morning, before I introduce my guest, early hours of this morning, I had a leader call me to say, you know what, I'm building a CDC and I'm going to be talking to my group in my sector about CDC. So all the sector women are supposed to build their CDCs, and I have ABCD questions. And I said to her, I said, leader, we do have trainings on Thursdays. If you come into those sessions, you would have been able to answer these questions very effectively to your leaders. So you see, we need as much as information, so much information to be able to pass on to other leaders. You can't build blindly. So, and I said to her, leader, we are still on chapter 6 to 9. Find time, even if it's just 30 minutes, listen in because you then now have a responsibility to build these women and let these women build their CDC. All right. But has she read the handbook, my leaders? She has read it, but she still had questions. She still had questions. So that's why these sessions, I want to really appreciate you leaders when you join in. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of your time. You listen in and you meditate on what has been said and you see how you will apply it in your communities. Thank you so much once again, joining this session. So leaders, I'm sharing today with Leader Ruth, who is our head for leadership training. Now, in leadership training, two things is the master class is part of the mandate of the leadership training, then the CDC. Because after we train leaders, leaders must be sent. And where are they being sent to? They are sent to communities, hence the CDC. So the CDC is then how do you implement what you have learned in the masterclass? That's where we get our hands dirty. We put our hands on the plow and we do the work. Because leadership, I remember Leader Violet, Leader Violet sent me a message one day and he said IEDF is not a WhatsApp group organization. So absolutely, we are not a WhatsApp group organization. We must be in the field doing the work. And I caught it when she said that. So and that is true the CDCs. The CDCs are the implementing arm of our structures in IEDF. So, Little Ruth, we're moving to chapter 6. where we are talking today, the Sitasa leadership model. I'm sure you are here, Leader Ruth. Can you say hello to us, Leader? Good
Hello,
morning.
thank you, leaders, for coming in. Good day. Thank you,
All
Leader
right.
Mary.
Okay, good morning, leader. So yes, I'm just gonna have you run through CITASA leadership model now using the CDC, all right? Using the CDC as the template for running the CITASA. Yesterday during the masterclass, we used CDC for running, we used CITASA for running our businesses, all right? CITASA for running our personal businesses, our leadership style. However, today we are looking at our communities. How do we use CITASA to run our CDCs within our community? Over to you, Leader. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Leader Mary. Welcome, leaders. Today we're given another opportunity to learn. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're talking about CITASA today. CITASA is our greatest model example to say this is how we do things. And it consists of 5 ways, 5 alphabets actually. The first one is a C, the second one is a T, and then we have A, we have S, and we have A. It reminds us that leadership is not simply about holding a title. It is a process of development that begins with a calling and ends with accountability. We have a CDC starter handbook pinned in our group, in our CDC group. If you go there, you'll see it, then you can just view it and read on your own so that you understand better. So let's go deeper on this CITASA model. The first one is a C. C, which means a call. Every great movement begins with someone answering a call. Think about your own community. When you see unemployment, young people losing hope, families struggling, what do you feel? If you are like me, it's painful to see people struggling. It's painful to see someone who was going to school and have these degrees, but they're not working. Some people walk away and give up. Others complain. Yes, we have a lot of complaining people. We complain a lot because if you remember, when you go to school, you expect that you are going to work, but we don't. These days it's not easy to find a job, so we complain. But leaders feel something different. Us as leaders in this IEDF CDC, we feel different. We feel that we must be responsible. We feel that we must be responsible. Being responsible means that I must do something. I made an example earlier to say that I may not be working, but I have my smartphone. With my smartphone, sometimes where I am, I have a free Wi-Fi. Why don't I use that opportunity for something? That phone to learn something. That's doing something about it and not complain. A title does not create a leader. Title, I mean, what you have. I'll make an example with Dr. Mary. She's a doctor, well educated by school, well educated a doctor. But if she doesn't do something with that title, then she's not a leader. A calling creates leader. That is why the handbook begins with a call. Leadership starts when you stop asking, who will fix this? We like doing that. And start asking, what can I do? Those questions are the ones that we must ask ourselves and not ask others to fix it for you. I'll make just a simple example. Here in South Africa, we have monies that are given people for free. And people think that because government has committed to doing that, then I just have to sit at home and do nothing. And if you don't get that money, people complain. That's what we're talking about. We need to do something as leaders. The second word is T, which means train. A calling is important, but passion without training can still lead to failure. You will decimally fail if you don't answer your call by training. Imagine giving someone the keys to a bus filled with passengers, without teaching them how to drive. Good intentions alone are not good. That is why the handbook teaches that every leader must be trained. We're talking about the CDC Starter Pack Handbook that I said to those that are logged in. It's pinned in our group, in our WhatsApp group. It's pinned on top there. You can just go and read about it. Training changes the way we think. It teaches us how to solve problems, how to work with people, how to multiply leaders. That is why the Leadership Masterclass comes before the starting of a CDC. We move forward to authority, the letter A, authority. Authority is not about controlling people. It is about earning trust. People follow leaders they trust. Trust comes from honesty, and trust comes from consistency. And again, trust comes from serving others. If you are not working with people honestly and you are not consistent, then people are not going to trust you. The greatest authority is not someone who can command people. The greatest authority is someone who can inspire people to willingly follow. That is authority. Then the fourth word is S, which means send, sending someone to do the work. We started by answering a call, then we come, but we train, then we gave someone authority. Then now we're talking about sending someone to go and do the work, to go and do that, the plowing that Leader Mary was talking about. Here, now we're doing the work. I think this is where many organizations stop, because people attended seminars, read books, collect certificates, but they never leave the classroom. This is what we're talking about. We have certificates now. Most of us, we have masterclass certificates. We have starter handbook certificates. But what are we doing further about them? If you stole them, they're going to acquire dust. But if you do something, then that's what we're talking about. The handbook says send, because leaders are meant to go into communities, go and build something of your own, go and serve others, serve the communities, go and multiply. We multiply by going out there and talking about leadership and training. We train others to do things better because we've been given an opportunity already to train. But there are those that cannot come into this classroom, those that are very, very poor in our communities, those that don't even have a phone with WhatsApp, they don't have data, they can't afford data. That's where we must go and teach them. To those women that are standing along the way selling something, then we teach them to do it in a better way. We teach them to send. That's what we're talking about when we say send. The purpose of today's training is not to remember Sithasa, but it is for you to live Sithasa. Live by it. I made an example yesterday, those who heard me. If you give me a call, I'll give you my testimony to how Sithasa helped me last week Sunday. It is for you to live by Sithasa. Now we come to the last word. The last word, which is accountability. Leadership without accountability becomes dangerous. That is why every CDC reports what they're doing during the week. Every CDC measure progress. Every CDC remains accountable. Accountable means that whatever you have been given, resources, everything that you acquire, those resources, the people that gave you that responsibility or that gave you a chance to have resources, they need to know what those resources have helped you with. That is what we're talking about when we say accountability. When we report, we are not providing our worth. We're providing our commitment. Sorry about that. We're providing our commitment. Communities deserve leaders who finish what they start. Now that we understand that a leader looks like that, when we talk about Sitasa, how does that leader actually change community? That brings us to the next chapter. Leader Mary, do you want to say something or should I?
Absolutely. I want to say something and
All
then I
right.
introduce the next chapter. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Leader Ruth. Your church testimony is going viral. So if you want to hear Leader Ruth's testimony, give her a call. Ha ha. So amazing, Leader Ruth, absolutely. Leaders, I just want to quickly give a reference to one of the CDCs, and one of the representatives of that CDC is here, just to give me a thumbs up on how that CDC actually ran a major program in Kenya. I'm just using that as a template to really show you how this really works. So there was a CDC, one of the CDCs across our sectors in IEDF, which is the creative sector. The creative sector has an amazing, well-structured CDC. And when we went to Kenya, we saw people on ground, grassroots. We saw people engaging, young leaders who had CDCs. They came out and they ran the program in Kenya, where we were there as, we were just there as spectators just to participate, but the CDCs were there. And we now saw that there were people in that CDC running the program. I just want Erasmus, can you unmute, Mabia? Can you unmute and just share with us the power of CDCs in the creative sector in Kenya? You guys have been doing amazing work. And how did you people come about, the work you did when we had the Kalasha event? You were there, you led CDCs, you had young people handling camera, a lot was going on, and it was through your CDC. Mabia, share with us on the power of CDC.
Good afternoon, leaders. My name is Mabia Erastus. I'm the head of youth in Creative Economy Kenya, and I'm so excited to be in this leadership training. And currently, I am running a CDC. We are calling it the IEDF Kenya Youth Network CDC, and we have the main group which has about 70 youths, and the executive one we are 12, and currently I'm into communication with subsector head of education. We wanted to do a training for youth, like in every month we wanted 100 youths to have the leadership certificate in under the IEDF. And also we are also launching projects to start very soon for street fashions, and also community screenings that we are currently planning them to have very soon in the Kenya Institute of Mass and Communication, which is a film school here in Kenya. And also we usually have a networking event every quarter, every quarter of the year. So, and we usually impact over 1,000 youths that usually attend the event. We watch films, they network, they get connections. Through that connection, a lot of youths usually get get jobs. And also, we have been doing that for over 2 years now. And the last time that Dr. Mary was here in Kenya, I also mobilized a very big number of youths that they were helping us to run the Kalasha event and also the Creative Kenya Summit. We have photographer, a well-trained photographer. We had ushers. Dr. Mary also had a PA and graphic designers and etc. etc. Then after that, I decided we created a small there was a project that was running that was under leader Rachel, and we also gave them opportunities to work in real set, and they earned money through that. And we are also doing that every time, every quarter, creating opportunities, creating events that can impact over 1,000 youths. And we are planning this year only in Kenya. We want like 500 youths to have uh, to have a leadership certificate, and we want to make sure that they have already finished their IEDF leadership masterclass. That's what we are currently planning with my subsector head of education. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. So, leaders, I wanted him to share because just for you to see in real life how CDCs can really be mobilized. So, Mabia, today I'm going to be connecting you with Leader Violet. Leader Violet is running an amazing program in South Africa, and she also is in the creative sector. That's why I needed you to speak so that networking begins to work. We can replicate what you are doing in Kenya in South Africa. Do you see? And when you have programs, you will be inviting Leader Violet's young people to Kenya to run programs with you. Violet will also be inviting you to South Africa, where we'll be running programs. We'll start with online, and then we'll begin to have physical programs. The same way you mobilize for Kalasha, Violet will also be mobilizing stakeholders in South Africa. This is what this engagement is all about. Thank you so much for sharing with us. So, leaders, the power of CDC. If you go to Kenya today, you want to run a program under the IEDF, we have the real people coming to speak to us. We have the real data of the challenges communities are facing, and we can really make true impact. Let's go to chapter 7, Leader Ruth. Visera, the action system. Over to you, Leader Ruth.
Thank you so much, Leader Mary. Oh, that is so exciting when you hear what other leaders are doing in Kenya. That is so exciting. Well done, leader. One of the biggest reasons communities remain the same is not because the lack of dreams. Guys, leaders, remember, we're talking about now Visera action system. We're going to explain how it works. It is because dreams never become action. The handbook gives us a simple system called Visera to move from vision to results. The CDC Starter Pack Handbook, which is pinned, it has this information. You can go and read deeper about it. The first word from Visera, it's a V. The second one, of course, it's an S, then I, then R, then A. We start with V, which means vision. Every transformation, because by my apologies about that. Every transformation begins by identifying the real problem. We ask these questions. What needs to change? Without vision, we cannot actually do anything. People become busy because they don't have a vision. People become busy but achieve very little if they don't have a vision. But if you have a vision, then things happen. The second word is an S, which is skills. Vision works with what? With skills. If you have a vision, but you don't have a skill, then it's not gonna work. Vision alone cannot solve poverty, But if you have a vision and a scale, then perhaps you can solve poverty. Not perhaps, actually, you can actually solve poverty. People need new skills every day. That's why we're always training. A simple example, if you go on a new job, you need to be trained. It doesn't matter that you have a qualification on that. You need to be trained as well, which means training is always ongoing. Those are the new skills we're talking about. We need new skills always. Communities grow when people learn. That is why every CDC must become a place of continuous learning. That is why now we are on another cohort for CDC training, leadership training, because we don't need to grow tired, but we must tell ourselves that we want to learn and know everything. The third word, actually, it's an I, which talks about incentives. When we talk about incentives, hey, a lot of people think of money. A lot of people think of money, but we can have incentives in other forms. People respond when they see hope, when they see opportunity, when they see progress. People don't simply join organization, they join the purpose. That is why we're talking about incentives. This is where you go and do the work, and at the end of the day, hoping that those that needs to give us perhaps incentives, those that are thinking of monetary value, but if you do the work and register your CDC, then results are gonna come. Then we come to resources. That is the last words. That is the last word on Visira. We're coming to the last word, which is R. We start with R, then A, which is the last. Resources. Many leaders believe they cannot begin because they have nothing. But the handbook asks a different question. What resources do we have already? I said earlier that if you have a cell phone, if you have a data, you can start doing the work. CDC Starter Handbook explains that further, which is pinned on our group. Do we have people? Do we have knowledge? Do we have churches? Do we have schools? Do we have businesses? Every community has resources. That is what we're talking about when we say resources. I'll make a simple example. If you have a church or go to church, obviously, if you need to do a seminar to train people on leadership skills, to train people on how to start a CDC, I'm talking about those that cannot log into the classroom, those that needs information practically or to explain in your mother tongue. We have churches, we have schools in our community, which means you can actually go and ask that space to go and host those people. That's what we're talking about. That's the resources. Some of them, we actually have them. That's what we're talking about when we say, don't we have businesses? Don't we have schools? And some of these people, business people around our communities, they are available to sponsor us. If you go with a vision like IEDF 2030 vision, and you go to those business people around your community and you explain, they will actually do something about it. That's what we're talking about. Every community has resources. Great leaders learn to see them because that's what we're looking at. The last word, the last alphabet, which is in an A, action plan. This is where transformation happens. Every meeting must finish without action, with action, rather. Every meeting must finish with an action. Who will do it? When will they do it? What will we achieve? Without an action plan, vision remains a dream. And when you ask who will do it, then you go and get people to do that. That is action plan, because we did say that you can't do it on your own. You need a team. That's what we're talking about when we say a CDC. You need to start having your own CDCs, because on your own, you can actually do it. That is what we're talking about when we say without an action plan, a vision remains a dream. Dr. Mary, do you want to add something?
Absolutely. Thank you, Leader Ruth. We're almost running up, my leaders. I just want to give you an example when we talk about resources. You know, leaders, in the CDC classes, we're not just reading a book. We're not reading a book. We are sharing knowledge. We're sharing experience. The education and training sector, we registered a football CDC here in South Africa. We registered a football CDC, and I was really privileged to work with young people in that CDC. We didn't have money. We came together and we decided we want to do this football CDC. What was the problem statement? We had a lot of crimes in our community. Young people are fighting each other. But I tell you, football unites young people. In fact, even if as a woman you don't know anything about football, your children will teach you football. You just will know who Messi and Ronaldo is. So it's just a unifier. So that game, we invited a football academy from Malawi, from Ethiopia, and from Zimbabwe. Ethiopia couldn't come. I'm talking about resources. Ethiopia couldn't come because of visa and the visa challenges. However, within us in South Africa, we began to work together. The young people had the ideas of how they wanted to run the football tournament and a live gaming. They were also doing a gaming session. And we began to mobilize leaders. We wrote to stakeholders. They did not give us sponsorship. All right. We wrote to stakeholders. They didn't give us sponsorship. Did we stop? No. We mobilized ourselves. We got the field free because we spoke to the community heads. They gave us the field free. We trained. We had materials, leadership masterclass. We trained the young people. Cut the long story short, we had an amazing tournament. Guess what today, my leaders? Banks are calling. Oh, when next are you having the football tournament? We will give you jersey. We will do this. Oh, when next are you do the Department of Education is calling. Oh, we need you to do this football tournament. Do you see why? Because they saw that we pulled something off. You will be seeing the media release. We had this just a few weeks ago. All right, we pulled it off because no one will believe you if you have never done anything they can see. Now people are asking, are you doing it quarterly or is it yearly? Can you imagine? That is the power of a CDC. We had a dream. Now they're going to give us money. Do you see, my leaders? They are going to give us money. We'll be paying our young people who will be playing for us. Amazing. I'm just sharing. That is the power of Viscera in action. I just wanted to share because in the CDC classes, we really must share real life testimonies of how the CDCs are being built. And these young people are now excited. They are learning. We've taught them through the masterclass because we had those training leadership sessions. We had health and safety session trainings for these young people. And stakeholders are finding value in what we're doing. Now they want to put their money into it. So that's Viscera in action. Let's go to chapter 8. Leader Ruth, just share with us on how to now launch our CDC in 7 days and we round up. Over to you, leader.
Thank you so much, Leader Mary. This is very exciting. I'm excited. Many people ask these questions. Where do I begin? The handbooks gives us a beautiful answer. Not next year, not 1 day, 7 days. You can actually register your CDC. That tells us something very important. That tells us something very important that we can work with. Leadership should not be delayed. CDC starter handbook has that information. Together, we can do these things. Day one, we talk about 7 days. Day one, decide to lead. Leadership begins with a decision. If you decide you want to do this, that is your first day. Because if you are deciding, then you are writing your vision down, your mission down, your objectives. Then the second day, complete the leadership masterclass. Preparations comes before multiplication. A masterclass, online masterclass, can be done in 1 day. If you are committed, you can finish it in 1 day. I have someone in my group who just joined 2 weeks ago. She went and did masterclass actually in 1 day herself, and she did the starter handbook the second day. So it's possible that you can do that online and finish. Then you join these classes so that you learn more the practical examples. Preparations comes before multiplication. Day 3, identify 12 committed leaders, not perfect people, but people willing to learn and serve. The willingness and the service, the serving, that's the most important part, because you can approach people, some who are not willing to, and you need to explain, to say that, yeah, this is how we work. We're not going to pay you monetary value, but when you do the work, this is what you gain. You gain leadership skills, you gain how to learn business. That is what you must explain to the leaders, because when some comes, they want to be paid. If you explain that, then we have willing people who are willing to learn and serving. Day 4, invite the team, share the vision simply. Leadership, service, action, and community transformation. You are going to explain that to your leaders because you have invited your team to explain. Day 5, hold your first CDC meeting. Pray together, read the CDC creed, explain the mission and the structure. The CDC creed is there on your handbook. That is where you are declaring what you want to do and what and how serious and how accountable you must be. That is what we're talking about. Pray together, read the CDC creed, explain the CDC and the structure, how you want things to be done. Day 6, assign the 12 peoples and 6 teams of 2 so that no one can serve alone. That is what we're talking about. You need someone to work with you. If this one today is committed, this one can execute the job. That's what we're talking about. Assign the roles together with your team. Register your CDC and begin meeting regularly. Do not wait for perfect conditions, because perfect conditions will never come. Start building. That is what we're talking about. You can ask a question, but what if I work during the day and I only have time in the evening? Most people in these groups, they do work. They have jobs that they go to every day, but they tell themselves that every chance I get, then I can do it. But trust me, if you also have a job, you can still finish within a week. You can finish your masterclass within a week if you have a job. Because when you come back, you tell yourself, I've got 1 hour to do my masterclass. You can still do it, meaning that you cannot have over a month to build your CDC if you are working. If you have a 7 to 4 job, you can still finish your CDC within 3 weeks if you are really committed. That's what we're talking about. And the starter handbook has all that information, and you will go and read about it, and everything will roll out precisely the way it's supposed to. Leader Mary, do you want to take chapter 9 or should I go forward?
All right, so you just help us with our call to action, registrations, then call to action.
Yes. Thank you, Leader Mary. Registration is more than an administration. It is a commitment. It says we are serious, because if you don't register, we don't notice that you are serious. The handbook explained that the founder must complete the leadership masterclass and then register the CDC with the IDF so that it becomes officially recognized and connected to the wider movement. There is an app which is always sent in those groups that we have. If you go and open that app and go through it, there's a whole lot of opportunities in there. When you register, you are not joining a small committee. You become part of the movement stretching across communities, countries, and continents. You being here in this meeting, we have people that when you are training one of these days, when we train together, they'll start knowing you that, oh, there's Ruth. She has a gender-based violence foundation. What can we do to help? That's what we are talking about. People will know you. You are not saying, I choose to be part of the solution. You are saying, I choose to be part of the solution. Dr. Mary, perhaps you want to close off, or should I
I'm
go
closing
forward?
off. Thank you, Leader
All
Ruth.
right.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much,
I want
leader.
to thank you so much. Just to buttress on the part of when you register, you're not registering, you are registering to a movement. One of the key things Leader Ruth has mentioned is many of us are really busy people. We have jobs, we have things we're doing on daily basis. But for me as a person, what IEDF has done for me, so I train many institutions. But you see, if I'm training, for instance, in the UK, I only know that organization I'm training and the leaders I'm training. However, what the IEDF has done for me, in all honesty, is that I'm known right now in many countries in Africa. Can you imagine? I could have only been known through my business or through my work only in the UK, because that's the organization I'm training on daily basis. I'm using that as an example. But right now, I have a family in Kenya. Erasmus is here, Mabia. I'm doing a project with him. I'm corresponding with him, isn't it? All right. Just because I was in Kenya through the IEDF. I have a sister in Little Ruth. I have another Little Violet. There's so much we can do together through knowing and identifying what your CDCs are doing. We get it registered before you know it. Now, listen, my leaders, people do not invest in your business, they invest in you. People will not sponsor your business, they are sponsoring you. It is a relationship that you people are building with you. So the relationships have gotten so far, money can buy. Money can buy. If I go to Zimbabwe, I have a leader in Zimbabwe who's going to be hosting me, and she will give me the data of doing anything in Zimbabwe. And guess what? I have many organizations now, corporate organizations, who are saying to me, you know what, we want to invest in this country. And I'm saying, I have somebody there. I have somebody who will give you all the resources, the data you need to invest in that company. Now, these are international companies coming into Africa. Through the IEDF, I have leaders in those countries who will give me every resources I need for that international organization to come into that country, and let's make money. That's the power of knowing who you are, putting your business out there. Let's get to know what you are doing in your CDC and in your businesses. That's how I want to close today. Leaders, I want to thank you once again. Thank you for joining. Let's work together. Let's start building our CDCs. Profile what you are doing. Let's begin to connect with one another. There's something I know you don't know. There's something you know I do not know. Together we can build a better community, help women, help youth, and help children. We're also looking forward to a CDC for children. We want CDCs for early childhood education. We do not want to leave the children outside our Vision 2030. So if you've got passion for children, you have a facility where we can bring children, begin to train children to become leaders. Let's begin to engage. God bless you, leaders, and we'll see you again next week as we're almost rounding up our CDC training. Thank you so much, and let's begin to communicate in the group. Thank you, leaders. Have a beautiful
Sorry, leaders.
weekend.
I'm going to post now the pamphlet of the MAID Global Training. You'll see
Okay.
it there. Thank
All right.
you. You'll get all the information there. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, leader. Please, let's have it. Thank you, leaders, and let's engage together. Thank you.